He's constantly making reference to Gen Zs. Constantly. Constantly making reference to Gen Zs. You don't know what he will do. The only thing I can tell Ruto, Raila Odinga, and any other politician who aspires to be president or to support a presidential candidate, watch out. Gashagua is a dangerous card. He's creating an image.
But he's creating this image where they are talking Kikuyu throughout,
yes.
Kikuyu songs in America.
That is, I'm telling you, for Gashagua, getting the mountain together is the most important thing. Anything else comes second.
Tired of the same old shopping experience? Step into a smarter way to shop with Whitesun Group, Kenya's go-to online store for quality you can trust. From gadgets and homeware to everyday essentials, we deliver convenience right to your door. Fast shopping, secure payments, and top-notch customer care, all in one place. Visit whitesungroup.com today. Whitesun Group, simple, reliable, delivered.
Great to see you. I'm here with Herman Manyora for our usual political conversations. How are you doing, Prof?
I'm
It's
good.
a beautiful weekend.
Yes, yes.
One of the few things that you've seen over the week is the conversation about President Uhuru Kenyatta. It has come back. We see President Uhuru with William Ruto.
Yes.
Some say play fighting while they are walking, pushing him over,
Yes.
like they are good friends.
Yes, yes.
And you'd wonder, could this mean something? Could Uhuru have supported Ruto before? And is there a chance that he might support him again in 2027?
You see, Ruto and Uhuru, it has done the round.
Yes.
And there are different ways of looking at it. Lee Njiru, in his book, told us politicians are all the same. They are cousins. Yeah. They will never kill each other. They are the same. They will support each other. They may pretend to be fighting, but at the last moment, they will cover each other's back. That is one way of looking at it. The other way is that this was a function. There are many other heads of state and former heads of state perhaps who are there. There are people, they were doing this thing, I don't know, DRC. Uhuru is a leader of some of those, I don't know what it is. He's a head of something about DRC. So he was there in that official capacity. And this is just normal banter, the normal way people behave when they meet. When he was with the Munagangwa, we were not shown the social part of it. So it's just normal. People could have over-concentrated on Uhuru because he was the previous occupant. But it's just normal. There is another third way, which is the view by some people, people like Caleb Amisi, MPs about, who have said that Uhuru never really wanted Tinga to be president. Uhuru and Ruto were playing Raila Odinga. So that's another way of looking at it. And of course, the way you are saying, it could as well mean that Uhuru could support Ruto. It's a possibility. This is politics. Yeah.
What will that mean for Uhuru if he supports Ruto, supports Raila, because he's friends with Raila, friends with Ruto? What could it mean for him, especially when you see the Gashagua wave in Mount Kenya?
It is dominance and control. If Uhuru sees beyond himself as a Kenyatta, we are looking at Ngena becoming the first woman president, for example, Ngena Kenyatta. Or that other tough guy, I can't remember his name. Muhoho. Is it called Muhoho?
I think it's Muhoho.
He has two sons. Yes. One of them is very presidential, almost kingly, beyond princely. I don't know his name. I keep confusing them. These are big people. I don't know them. It will be in the interest of Uhuru Kenyatta to do something that does not give power to Gashagua and other people outside the Kenyatta family. So supporting Ruto may be good for Uhuru in the long run. Yeah? In the long run, it may work better for Uhuru to support Ruto. But if you keep quiet and Gashagua dominates and Gashagua takes over, that will mean the name of Kenyatta could very easily go down, and Kenyatta may not rise again.
You're saying in the long run. How about in the short run? In the short term, now that we have...
The short term, he could be
Gashagua's-
opening himself to attack. Because Gachagua has a problem attacking Uhuru. Supposing Uhuru wants to support Ruto, for that matter, or even Matiang'i, and Gachagua is either running or supporting Kalonzo. You see, there's already a conflict between Uhuru and Gachagua.
Yes.
So Gachagua will have a problem, unless he's the one running, will have a problem attacking Uhuru from the community. You see? But if Uhuru went all out support Ruto, Gachagua will now be free to attack Uhuru and tell the community, look at this kind of guy.
What is this thing about Uhuru that once he pops up, the whole country is in a frenzy? How would you describe this man, Uhuru? Because he just goes to State House, and then the video is all over social media and TikTok and photos and this conversation. Maybe the brothers are back. Maybe Uhuru will take support. What is it about Uhuru? And does he have the sway that he had? Because some would argue if Raila did not become president, then Uhuru cannot help. And others would say Uhuru has never been known to get in the mud.
You know Uhuru is a former president, number one. Naturally, a former president will attract some attention. Naturally. Secondly, Uhuru is a Kenyatta. Kenyatta is not a name you just browse through. You know, it's a name that makes people sit down and watch and listen. Thirdly, and I think more important, there's this thing about Uhuru Kenyatta that makes people just love him. He's like a people guy. People just love him naturally. Even if you walked somewhere, people just naturally love Uhuru Kenyatta. Even on the international scene, even when he was among peers, fellow presidents, when he was in the UN, UNGA, or the African scene, Addis Ababa, you just see that thing. He's a likable guy. Yeah, so those are some of the reasons why we have all this attention. But again, of course, we are in a political season. And anything that happened, a toad jumping in daylight, will certainly mean something.
What is this that he had in his tenure that Ruto doesn't have? Because the president has been talking about the same thing. He's saying, what you're doing to me, you didn't do it to Uhuru. Things were tough with Uhuru. Things were also tough with Kibaki. But I'm receiving this much hatred. What is this that Uhuru had that Ruto doesn't have? Or what can he do about it?
Uhuru had something about him that people liked. You could hate what he was doing, but as a man, you would just love him. He was just a likable guy, you know? And Uhuru also learned a thing or two from Kibaki. He didn't get very personal on matters. He didn't get very personal on matters. To the extent he was like hands off. Not as much as Kibaki, but almost hands off. Even when there was an outcry over something like sacking a minister or something, you know, he was not quite, he's sort of, so that made him a person that was difficult to hate as a person. Yeah.
What is Ruto doing that is getting this hatred?
Ruto, you see, is very personal about almost everything. Yeah, he's all over the place. His hands are on everything. Okay. That way you may rub some people in the wrong way. But secondly, and I think this is a failing of advisors and the communication team, the president tends to overpromise. When you overpromise, you have a problem. Uhuru did many of the things he did without even pronouncing them. That, of course, became his undoing because there are many good things Uhuru did but never talked about them. He never promised, and he never talked about them even when they were successfully completed. Of course, there was a infamous launch. But beyond that, there wasn't that element of over-promising. So Ruto's problem perhaps appears from the stretch of the promises. It's a rather long stretch of promises. So let's say you stretch 10 kilometers in terms of promises. Even if you deliver 3 out of 10, nobody can notice.
Yeah.
But if you didn't promise and deliver 3, people will see the 3. You see? Or if you promised 5 and deliver 3, they can be seen. But you promise 20 and deliver 2 or 3, nobody can see what
This
you have
has been
done.
the conversation with employment. He promised 4 million jobs.
Yes.
He has delivered 200,000 in
You see, 200,000 is good enough with the economy of the world today. The economy is doing so badly. If Ruto has delivered 200, I don't know whether he
which
has.
is still
It's not a bad thing. But since you promised 4 million, then 200 is a drop in the ocean. So
Yes.
the problem is of over-promising is that the little you do, which may be good enough for another person, doesn't appear to be anything because it is lost. It's drowned by the huge number of promises. Yeah.
Looking at his shortcomings, can President Uhuru, the former, help him in garnering votes, especially if you consider the position of Uhuru Kenyatta now in the mountain region with Gashagua taking over?
It's very easy. If Uhuru set out to help Ruto, it's very easy. Destabilize Gashagua in the mountain. By hanging on Matiang'i, for example. Yeah. Just hang on Matiang'i.
The mountain will vote for Matiang'i.
Not all of it. Now Gashagua, it was so until Gashagua went, the far he has gone. With the far Gashagua has gone, Uhuru cannot manage to take the mountain and give it to Matiang'i or anybody else for that matter. The bulk of the mountain vote will still go with Gashagua. But that harm, that injury will be felt in the opposition. Let's say 5 million Mount Kenya people turn out to vote and Uhuru gets 1 million or 1.5 for either Matiang'i or Ruto. That's already bad for Gashagua and for the opposition. So yes, Uhuru can injure the opposition if he chose to. Yeah, but in the process, he would also maybe also injure his own legacy and his own reputation.
This
That's
reputation,
the risk it would take.
there's this reputation that Gachagua has now that he's just a Mount Kenya leader. We've seen him in the diaspora and he's getting castigated for this. How impactful or how can this affect his campaigns as Rigathi Gachagua now that Kenyans are still talking about him as a Mount Kenya kingpin, nothing more?
You see, people are missing the point about Gashagua so badly. If I was marking their script, they will all be getting maximum 2 out of 10, 20, 25%. They are missing the thing so badly. You've just asked me less than a minute ago whether Uhuru can affect the Mount Kenya vote.
Yes.
Whether he can pull the vote from Gashagua. That answers your question. That is where we are all missing it. Gashagua is a smart politician. Gashagua knows he needs the mountain, all of it. And it is not a walk in the park because Uhuru Kenyatta is there and he doesn't know what Uhuru Kenyatta can do and others. So for Gashagua, he has to get the entire mountain at the risk of anything else.
But the people asking him these questions
Listen.
are Mount Kenya people too.
You see, what Gashagua wants is to get the Mount Kenya people first annoyed enough with William Ruto. That he has succeeded. Then, he wants to get them united in that anger against Ruto. That again he has succeeded. The next phase is where do you direct this anger and these votes? The anger is already translated into unity and the votes. So the next task for Gachagua is where do you deliver these votes? It was a matter of life and death for Gachagua to get the Mount Kenya people united. And he will do so at any cost. You can call him all the names you want to call him. But the first thing for Gachagua is to get the Mount Kenya angry enough to be united and listen to him. And that he has succeeded very well. While we were still calling him a tribalist, hi cousins, hi Makuzo, that has already brought other people on board. And while we were still getting annoyed with this issue of Makuzo, cousins, he was talking of Mashemegi. Before we could recover from that in Narok, he was in Western, selling it. If people are not seeing that danger, then there's only one thing that remains for Gachagua. Only one, and not two.
Which is?
Just one. How do people view him as a possible president? That is his problem now. Everything else he has solved. Yeah. The true one in America is to create an image now. He's now working on an image. In the next few months, 1, 2, 3 months, Gashagua's task will be to create an image of a president.
Which has failed.
Because even as, before you say he has failed,
Yes.
let me just show you I understand what you are saying. And that's what many people are saying. Even those who could even worship him because of being the kingpin he is, they do not see him as a president. The people, his own people, Mount Kenya,
Yes.
have not even imagined he can run for president, let alone be a president. That is what he's working on, the next phase. And that's why he's in America. Apart from the dollar he's looking for, he's creating an image.
But he's creating this image where they are talking Kikuyu throughout,
Yes.
Kikuyu songs in America.
That is, I'm telling you, for Gachagua, getting the mountain together is the most important thing. Anything else comes second. Because once you get the mountain united, and with you, if you say it is Kalonzo, and you choose for Kalonzo the running mate, it's game short. It's game short. It's not just the mountain is united. It has the sort of anger. That's what he's doing in America also. The sort of anger and the resources necessary to have an 80-85% turnout. The anger and the resources, is looking for resources. And there is the anger, generating enough anger, taking it up, to generate 85% voter turnout. All of it in one basket.
How does he
Either his
Yes.
or somebody's. Maraga, Matiangi, Kalonzo, Wamalwa, whoever it is. Yeah.
How can he do this while still balancing the Gen Z vote who don't want to hear anything about Mount Kenya or Kikuyu or
Or anybody else for that matter.
How can Gachagua do this while still balancing so that, because it's Valentine, the Gen Z was telling him that we are still seeing him as a Mount Kenya or a Kikuyu leader. How does he balance so that these Gen Zs can actually see him as, a leader, a presidential candidate for all Kenyans?
You see, that is the next phase. If he succeeds to turn himself into a presidential material, in the eyes of Kenyans, the next phase will be the Gen Zs. And hope is not lost to you and other Kenyans and our viewers, that he's constantly making reference to Gen Zs. Constantly making reference to Gen Zs. You don't know what he will do. The only thing I can tell Ruto, Raila Odinga, and any other politician who aspires to be president or to support a presidential candidate, watch out. Gachagua is a dangerous card. When I say this, people think, it's Gachagua. No, I'm saying what I'm seeing. Gachagua is a dangerous card. With the entire Mount Kenya intoxicated, angry, and united, both locally and in the diaspora, the Kenyan diaspora and the diaspora, with sufficient resources, with a serious running mate for either him or his candidate, and with a scheme to bring Gen Zs on board, you can't stop Gachagua. And I'm telling all these politicians, they should think about Gachagua in a much more serious way than they are thinking, including the opposition politicians. They are those who are resting, and I laugh at them. All these like Kalonzo, they are just resting. Gachagua will not run. Gachagua will not run. Excuse me. There's nothing to stop Gachagua from running. There's no law to stop him from running.
Until all avenues are
Yes, there's nothing. You will not stop Gachagua from running. How will you stop him? It is for him to choose not to run. Because him not running will give the opposition the impetus that it requires.
Finally, we started with Uhuru. We have Uhuru, Raila, Ruto. They all decide we have this conclave for the benefit of the country. We have this national conversation, and they try to push it till 2027. And then we have these other guys on this other side. We say Rigathi, Gashagua, Kalonzo, Musyoka, Matiangi come to face the likes of Uhuru, Raila, and Ruto. Who takes the presidency?
It depends on many things. It depends on who that opposition candidate is and how do they arrive at him. And what is Gashagua's role? Because Gashagua is the man. What Gashagua says is what goes. If you beat Gashagua into submission, says, okay, fine, you will lose. It has to be somebody Gashagua picks, not the opposition. It must be played in such a way, although it is a consensus that it's Matiang'i, it's Maraga, it's Kalonzo. But in that room, they must know the person picking is Gashagua. If he's not running. If he's not the one picking, it's like Raila. People wanted Raila not to run. And I kept asking them, if Raila says, yes, Kalonzo run, and then he just plays a role like the one Kalonzo will play in his campaign, how far would Kalonzo go? It has to come from Raila himself, inside, not you telling him, oh, you have run so many times, oh, you promised Kalonzo. Then he says, okay, fine, how far will Kalonzo go? So equally today, if the opposition says, we want one candidate, and because Gachagua has one vote in the room, he's overwhelmed. Maybe he wants Kalonzo, but he's overwhelmed. It's given to Maraga. Then he says, fine. They want to win. So it has to be a person. If it's not Gachagua himself, it has to be a person Gachagua picks.
Do you think the odds are with the opposition as things stand?
I think our opposition has a higher chance than the sitting government,
yes.
Except the challenges of producing a candidate may play in against them to the benefit of Ruto. That challenge is not a small challenge, and I've said it repeatedly. Supposing Gachagua gets drunk with the attention he's getting, you've seen the attention in the States. Supposing Gachagua gets drunk with the power he's seeing around him, and he insists he's running. You know, that could also spell, it could be a good thing because he could win. But it's also bad because then the opposition will be thrown into disarray. If Gachagua insists on running, much as he's the front runner, the rest, Kalonzo could run. Matiang'i could run, and Ruto will just have all of them for breakfast.
So,
one for breakfast, another one for supper, dinner, na asubuhi. Maporo ya kesho yake.
I said finally, but how do you break this chain or this cycle or this confusion that comes amidst choosing a candidate?
I think they should just do what they did in 2002, what the opposition did in 2002. Kibaki tosha. Or, and this is now where Ruto would be very careful. If the Gen Zs were the ones to determine, no, they can start this movement of theirs and just get Maraga and put, I don't know why I keep saying Maraga today.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
By the way,
you've noticed
yes, Maraga.
I don't know why.
I think it has sunk into you that is the right presidential candidate.
You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, suppose the Gen Zs just took somebody like Maraga, for example, again, there it goes, and say, this is our candidate. The Gashaguas will have a big problem. They will have to accept that is the candidate. And that will be too dangerous for Ruto.
Anybody that exists.
Yes. If the Gen Zs carry somebody high and put him on the table, ambia simama hapo, wewe ndio presidential candidate. Alafu hawa watu wengine wote wanyamaze. Kina Gachagua, wote wanyamaze waseme ni huyo. Beating that candidate will be a problem.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. Prof has been saying Maraga throughout this conversation. Maybe you should tell me whether you think he's the rightful candidate to take this country to the next level. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.